morning, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the work that you do. Again would like to echo my thanks to Michael and Nicole and everyone at the Nonprofit Development Center for all the work that they do and the convening today and beyond. I'd also like to echo my thanks to everyone at Rowan. Putting this on from a logistical standpoint is no mean feat, especially if you have to change venues at the very last minute, so definitely understand that. So I'm Linda Czipo. I'm president and CEO of the New Jersey Center for Nonprofits. We are the statewide network for the charitable nonprofit community, and we've worked for many years with the Nonprofit Development Center. And I'm just going to, over the next few minutes, present what we kind of think of as the highlights of our recent survey, which we unveiled last week, about the state of the nonprofit community. Many of you may have completed this, and thank you so much. Recognize that's also no mean feat. So I'm going to throw some stats out to you. I also, if you want a copy of the presentation, I'm certainly happy to send that to you. Just drop your card in our table at the back. I'd also like to give a shout out to my colleague, Debbie Duncan, proud South Jersey resident and coworker at the New Jersey Center for Nonprofits. So just a little bit of landscaping, and again, the numbers, I'm going to be really interested in hearing the data that are going to be revealed today, because the IRS only covers so much, and what I've got is from the IRS. The IRS tells us that there are 41,000 501c3 nonprofits in the state of New Jersey. Bureau of Labor Statistics tells us, at least as of a few years ago, that they employed almost 10% of the private workforce in New Jersey. That's more than many major industries, such as banking, insurance, finance, et cetera, et cetera. Why does that matter? Because when we think about nonprofits and when we're talking to our friends in government or in the media or whatnot, we talk a lot, and necessarily and importantly so, about the vital programs that everyone is providing for the people of our state. But nonprofits are also vital to the economic engine of our state. So if we want to have a strong and thriving nonprofit New Jersey, if we want to have a strong and thriving state, strong and thriving communities, we need a strong and thriving nonprofit community. Nonprofits also spend $56 billion collectively in the state, and we marshal the energies and talents of about 1.5 million volunteers. The IRS tells us, and again, this pales in comparison to what Michael was just saying, but the IRS says that there are about 11,200 nonprofits in New Jersey. So clearly the IRS is missing some folks. And this is the case in South Jersey as well as across the state and country. Nonprofits are community-based. The vast majority of nonprofits, the overwhelming majority of nonprofits, have budgets of under $1 million, and that vast majority have budgets of under $500,000. So this is a very community-based sector. So in terms of a survey, we at the New Jersey Center for Nonprofits have been doing an annual survey of the nonprofit community since 2001. We started this after 9/11. And the purpose of this is pretty simple. We want to take a pulse about what's happening in the community. Did your funding go up last year? Did it go down? What other challenges are you facing? And again, if you completed the survey, thank you so much, because this helps to inform planning, it informs advocacy and everything else. So we conducted the survey in late January through mid-February. We had about 200 responses throughout the state, including about a quarter from South Jersey. And that's actually pretty consistent in terms of the percentage of nonprofits in New Jersey from South Jersey, which is about 27%. And that's also about consistent with what the Census Bureau says are population patterns. So the quick and dirty, too long didn't read. And if you've heard this presentation before or something like it, or you've heard me talk about this in other years, it may seem like Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day was last month, but you're getting similar themes recurring over and over again. And one of the biggest themes is that there is still demand for service for nonprofits is continuing to go up. And you can tell me if this resonates with you, and if it doesn't, I'd love to hear how your circumstances are differing. Demand for services keep going up. Outpacing funding. Funding is not going up at the same pace that demand for services is rising. Almost 4/5 of our respondents said that demand for services keeps going up. They went up in the last year. Anyone hazard a guess as to whether the funding, percentage of nonprofits that said funding went up is the same? No, it's not. Less than half. So we've got a disconnect there. 4/5 say demand is going up, less than half said funding is going up. And in terms of predicting what's happening in the coming year, same basic deal. 4/5 demand is going up, and less than half funding is going up. I think you can see the disconnect here and why this is a matter of urgency. Some of the other issues that we're dealing with, workforce shortages. Raise your hand if you are trying to recruit staff right now. Okay, and that's pretty, sadly, that's a common issue in South Jersey, in New Jersey, across the country. In our survey, about half of the nonprofits that had staff said they are having staffing shortages, and the average vacancy rate was 20%. So there's clear implications there in a lot of different ways. Technology, we didn't ask a lot about it, but I want to tee it up as an issue, both in terms of access issues, digital divide, the promise and perils of social media and AI. These are all things that are on people's minds, and we need to be mindful of that, and we need to kind of get ahead of some of it as well. Another key concern, which is ongoing and demands urgency, is the need to continue to advance diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in our organizations. We know, and this is the case in New Jersey and across the country, that our boards and our leadership are not representative of the communities that we're serving. We have, and there are lots of implications that go along with that. And we also are seeing, in terms of how many of our respondents ranked diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging related issues as among their top 5 of issues of concern, that some of the urgency has started to subside, and that's a problem. That's a real concern. Again, we have more data that we can share with you about what that looks like between 2019 versus 2020, 21, and now, but that's something that we all need to be mindful of, and we need to get ahead of it and tackle it. What are nonprofits doing about this? What you might expect. Looking for more revenue, looking for revenue from alternative sources, boosting volunteer recruitment, more advocacy, trying to boost compensation and benefits for staff, more collaborations. I mean, that's what this day is about, and I have said time and time again that I think sometimes nonprofits get a bad rap from those who don't think that nonprofits collaborate. We happen to see and think that nonprofits collaborate quite a bit, and this room is just one powerful example of that. Hybrid structures, according to our last 2 years of surveys, and not everybody can go hybrid, to be sure. Some people have to stay in person all the time, but about 57–60% of our respondents said that they were working in some form of hybrid. So that may be here to stay as well. So we're going to be talking together about solutions, throughout the day and beyond. But what else can we do? Just a couple of things that I would like to offer up. One is talk to your funding sources, funding partners, engage them in these conversations. Michael alluded to trust-based philanthropy as a solution. Council of New Jersey Grantmakers and the New Jersey Center for Nonprofits are partnering on an initiative called Doing Good Better. And the whole idea behind this work, which is similar and complements work being done across the country, is it is designed to strengthen the partnerships that nonprofits have with our funding partners and equalize that power imbalance. If we're being honest here, this is not an equal relationship, and we need to change that for the good of the communities that we are serving. There is information on the Center for Nonprofits website about this, and I'm happy to share more about it. Advocate, 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 with a big A and a small a. We need to be active in public policies. If you want to make nonprofit, the entire state of New Jersey, including South Jersey, nonprofit friendly, we need to have these conversations with our policymakers. If you're not part of these discussions, they are not going to hear from you. Your perspective will go unheard and arguably unaddressed, and the communities that you serve will be, the challenges will be even more acute. So let's keep advocating in policy-making circles and in every other circle that we have. One other reminder, on a strictly nonpartisan basis, we have a really important election this year. Every election is important, but this year there's a lot at stake. There's a lot that you as nonprofits can do on a nonpartisan basis to engage in this work. We will, again, feel free to contact us. We have more information. We'll be sharing more information about that. But let's keep forging a new narrative. We're talking about investment in nonprofits for the communities and for the greater good. Economic impact. This is not an unequal, you're doing us a favor by investing in us. The communities that we are serving will be, that's what this is all about. So this is not a handout, this is an investment. We need to have hard conversations about how we are compensating our staff. If we want to be serious about being able to compete, and if we and hire and retain the best and brightest to work in our sector and make it a career path, we need to have those conversations. We need to lead with our values, including diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging. We need to focus on the communities and speak up and speak out. We will keep forging ahead, and we will be able to succeed as with everything if we do it together. So again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the work that you are doing in communities. Thank you, Nonprofit Development Center, and I'm happy to turn over the floor to Michelle.